Hello, and welcome to the Trail Manners Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Manning, coming to you from the beautiful trails in Ogden, Utah, but connecting you to wherever trail, ultra, and mountain running takes us. We'll bring trail running to life with amazing athletes, discuss the latest topics, epic journeys, and get you stoked for your next trail adventure. We're sharing the moments that make life special, because even a rough day on the trail beats a good day indoors, and nothing beats time spent with good friends and great stories. Catch us here weekly for your dose of dirt, vert, and good vibes. So now it's time to top off your water, grab some cheese curds, and join us for this week's podcast, where we take you deep into the heart of our sport. It's go time. Hey, welcome back to the Trail Manners Podcast. It is 2022. We officially made it. This is episode 311. We're going to do this single track session style, which means it's me, and we'll be talking a little bit about the sport, as well as a follow-up from our Christmas gift guide. We had a lot of people send stuff in, and we also have prizes to give away. It's going to be a big show for us. Again, 2022. It is January 4th, 2022. We made it through 2021. I'm optimistic of 2022, so I hope everybody out there is as well. And we're going to battle through this, so let's go. Well, Happy New Year. I want to say a huge thanks to everybody who's welcomed the Trail Manners Podcast back. We've had a lot of emails and texts and messages, and I truly appreciate that. It's good to hear people listening still and seeing people's names pop up on my screen. Thank you. Truly, truly appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed your previous two podcasts, episode 308 and 309. Those podcasts were our Christmas gift guides. So we had 308, 309, and then we had 310 with Preston Wood talking about Hurt, which is coming up here shortly. But yeah, on the Christmas gift guides, we just want to say thank you so much for everybody that sent in some other ideas, had some questions, answered a few questions, and we're going to cover some of those as we go, as well as our Woody Footy. We had a little Woody Footy of the Year thing that we sent out, and we're going to announce the people who take away the feel-good prize for that. But just keep tuned. Next week, next Tuesday, I think, what is next Tuesday? The 11th, January 11th, we're going to have Tara Warren on, and we're going to talk a little bit about RUFA, which is a Running Up for Air series here in Utah, Colorado, and Montana. And I'll say Montana because I messed that up on the last episode, or the next one that we're going to be talking about. But yeah, so we'll have her. Well, she's actually got into Hurt off the wait list. So we'll talk to her a little bit about that, and just a little bit what else is on her schedule after a very challenging couple years with the plague that's been around. So stay tuned for that, episode 312. And yeah, let's just get right after it. I know on last episodes at the end of the year, before our Christmas break, that I challenged you people to send handwritten cards or letters to someone who has touched your life, or you feel has done something that you want them to know about that maybe they don't. And I hope people did that out there. I know I did. I haven't heard back from the couple individuals, and that's not what it's for. So I hope they got them. But I hope people had the time and were able to do that. I think that was just something that I'll probably carry on throughout this year. But yeah, hope a few of you did that out there. But let's get into it. I want to thank the listeners. We're still taking recommendations on our Christmas gift guide. We're going to talk about them, and then we're going to announce the winners, and then we're going to keep buzzing through. It is 2022, and we are ready to roll. Let's go. So first up, we had Lee Moss. He sent in about some neoprene socks he wears running in the snow. They keep his feet warm. He usually uses Bag Balm, which is a good stocking stuffer. That's another good opportunity. So we can have some of these links here, but I haven't tried the Neo socks, the neoprene socks. I know years and years and years and years ago, I tried something before neoprene. It was almost like, as Lee even mentioned, like a wetsuit, that's what neoprene is, but it was more for not running. So maybe that was a bad idea. But I know people that do wear them, so that's something you can do, especially where it's been getting so frigid here in Utah and surrounding areas. He also wears compression sleeves for his knees. He helps with some pain, some arthritic pain, and he uses ripped gear. Haven't seen those. It's RIPT gear. They've worked, but they stretch out quick, and he's ready for a new pair. So if anybody has any recommendations for like some knee sleeves for some arthritic pain, Lee gets out a lot. He's always working, as well as getting out on the mountain. So if anybody has any ideas for some really nice sleeves for his knees, let us know. Post it on the Facebook. Email me, manners@trailmanners.com. You're going to hear that email address throughout the show for multiple reasons, but spread some love there. And good friend from up north, Andrew Giles. He's got a Phoenix, here we go, HM65R-T. He purchased it at a race last year. It's got a rechargeable battery, or he can throw in some CR123A batteries. And it's got 2 lights, a flood and another light, and it's got 3 levels. So he seems to like that one. He also said that he was lucky enough to get some Killam pants from Path Projects and loves them. He likes a zipper at the bottom and helps get his shoes on when he's got those on. And he also is a fan of the Pyrenees T19 hooded shirt for cooler days. And it's nice, you're paying a price, but again, one thing about Path, they don't have their logos all over everything. They've got a couple logo options, but it's good to see that Path's getting around out there. Tim Bugnett here locally on his wish list, some Exo Skin apparel, as well as some Lecky poles. He likes the Trigger Shark attachment, and he also likes the Black Diamond pole. So that's one thing we didn't talk too much about was poles, and I've got a pair of Black Diamond poles, the old school Z poles that I don't use much, but that's one thing we didn't talk about on our gift guide. I don't know if it's that the people we had on weren't huge people that use poles a lot, but I know they're out there, and I actually do know that a few have used those. So how about Ward from Georgia? Ward says he uses still uses the Ampapod 12. Those were the first hydration bottles I ever used, like almost 20 years ago, is the Ampapod bottles. And I have nothing against the Ampapod bottles. I haven't checked them out for a while, but I know back in the day, they had, this is going to sound bad, the most rugged nipple of any bottle I've ever had. Those things, if you dropped it, it would scratch it or rough it up just enough where you could cut your lip on them. And that's because I dropped mine. Oh, and when you fall. But I do like the Ampapod bottles. In fact, I think I'm going to go out and grab another one because it's been so long, and I'm like, hey, I remember those guys. They do fit well in your hands, so try those out. Ward also uses the Under Armour liners. He's the first one to talk about shoes. He uses the Olympus 4, the Lone Peaks, and the Timp, an Ultra guy, and the Solomon Speed Cross for shorter runs. Which is interesting because I do know, like, between the Ultra shoes, which are 0 drop, and the Speed Cross, those are at least 8 millimeter, could be 10. I'm not 100% sure, but there's quite a bit of difference. So when he says he uses them for shorter runs, I'm curious if that's why. If it's more of a, Ward, if you want to reply, do you notice the drop difference with those? Good friend of the show, Chris Pack, long sleeve shirt, bamboo. It's Task, TASC. I am going to grab one of these, Chris, because I've never put on a bamboo shirt. I've seen the bamboo sheets, but I've never tried a bamboo shirt. So for your recommendation, Chris, I am going to find me a long sleeve or maybe a short sleeve. I'm going to find me a bamboo shirt just to try, just to see what it's all about. I'm going to read about them a little bit because I'm a nerd. But I'm going to try that, so thanks for that. Therese, she said that gaiters, and that's another thing we didn't talk about. I don't wear gaiters per se anymore. I haven't found a good pair. I've had Dirty Girl. I know Ultra has some for their shoes. There's some beefy ones out there from Solomon, but that's another great little, could be a stocking stuffer, I guess, too, is the gaiters. So we have all this stuff that people told us about and everything we spoke about. But just keep them coming because this is something we could do all year, especially when we start getting into, which we will. We'll do some gear reviews later on in the spring when more stuff starts to come out new, when those ships hit their ports. Everybody's behind, but we want to test things. So if there's things you'd like to see tested, shoot us an email, manners, MANNERS, @trailmanners.com. Shoot us an email. We're going to do some gear garage, as we used to call it, testing so we can try out some new stuff. Sarah Moore, a good friend of the show, she can't get by without her hand warmers. So she wears her gloves and puts a little packet of hand warmers in there to keep her hands warm. Great stocking stuffer as well. KC Morris talked about some, and I'm going to say this wrong because I don't know how to say it, and it's no need to correct me. I'll figure it out. It's I don't know if it's Ciele, Ciele. I'm not a huge, I slaughter names. If you've listened to the show, 311 episodes now. I slaughter words pretty well. Usually it's names, but it's an athletic go cap. Lots of colors, breathes well, looks good, and it's Ciele. And I could probably do some work and Google that, and it'd probably show me all the little, things above letters and the best way to pronounce it. And maybe I'll do that while we're sitting here talking. But yeah, they have and everybody's heard of them. And I'm just pulling it up now, and boy, they have a ton of colored hats for sure. There's some bright stuff. There's some cool stuff. We've seen them all on the trails by people, and there's a lot of those ambassadors out there too that wear them, I think. But yeah, it's a great hat. Missy Jackson from California. Boy, we love seeing her name pop up. She had a great idea for a gift, and that's the orange mud towel. I know we spoke about it. It's called the transition towel, and we didn't know the name about it. Is to change in your car, to put over your seat, and I have seen those for sure, and that's a great idea. I probably take too many chances with changing my shorts in my car, hoping no one's around. But yeah, that's a great thing. And then putting it on your seat. Because it depends on your seat covers. You don't want them to get all funky. You know what I'm talking about. And so she has a great question, and one that I can't answer. Not for any reason, but I've never tried. She's wondering what's the best running underwear for the ladies. She's had some that she's loved by Asics, but of course they stopped making them. Isn't that the truth? Every time you find something that you love, the company stops making them. Happens way too often. It's one thing we didn't talk about when we had Debbie on. So any of the ladies out there, or anybody that maybe even wears ladies running underwear, send us a message, post it on Facebook so we can give Missy some ideas of what to go with. And she also uses Trail Toes, which is another great brand for the Christmas side. Jill Wilkins, Utah, Movi hats. And yes, Movi hats are a great addition and you could stuff those in a stocking. Those are collapsible. They just fold right up and regain their shape. So Movi hats. Megan Smith. How about some La Sportiva Bushidos that she wears and Dry Max socks? I love me some Dry Max socks. La Sportiva Bushidos. Those were a little heavy for me and a little, I don't know, they just felt weird. I did try those a year ago. Maybe I could give them another try. It was a couple years ago. I keep forgetting 2020 and 2021. That kind of blends for me as a year, and I'm sure it does for others. So it's probably been a few years since I've tried the Bushidos on, but they just seemed a little heavier than I was used to, like super burly. And maybe they've changed a little bit, but also a little stiff. And that, again, when we talk about gear, right? Shoes are the big one. Everybody has their thing, whether it's, high stack heights. I want to fill the trail, so it's minimal stack height, zero drop. How burly they are. How do I like a rock plate? Do I not like a rock plate? There's so many things with shoes that it's personal. So we're not ever going to knock a pair of shoes. And we will talk, and everybody out there's always known what I wear. But yeah, let's hear what you wear. I'm excited for 2022. I know it's going to be later in the year, but I know there's some new shoes coming out that I'm really going to try to get my hands on. One of those I'm hoping, and I haven't read anything yet, but I haven't done a ton of research, is if North Face is going to come out with any tweaks to their line that they launched in 2021. I would hope, for me, maybe just a little bit wider. Maybe just a little bit wider would be great. But yeah, it's always interesting to see the tweaks they make year after year. Sometimes you don't like them, sometimes you need them, but I'm interested to see what all these new shoes coming out in the spring are. So if there's some shoes you're wanting to know more about, shoot us an email, send me a message, and we'll see if we can get our hands on some and do some testing or get some more beta for you so we can talk about those. Next up, we've got Kevin Mathewson. He said, great gift ideas, a few things he's going to check out. He wears some Wolaco, WOLACO compression shorts, and he's never chafed in them. Hey, if you've never chafed in something, that sounds like a good fit because chafing sucks. He says they're thick enough to wear on their own, but great as a liner. They also have a couple sweat-proof side pockets. You can carry a phone, whatever gels, anything like that. And also Kevin, these are a great recommendation. It's two brands I'm not aware of. And the next one's for socks. He says, look at Rockay. And I'm going to say Rockay because it's rock, Rockay. So I'm not going to pronounce it Rocky, right? And hear the music in the background, but Rockay. Works great, looks good. And Kevin, I'm a sock guy, okay? And not like the brand sock guy. I'm a sock fella. Maybe I'll say it that way. So I'm definitely going to check those out to see what kind of socks those are and what they can do, how they fit, feel. I'll pull those up and go through those. They're running shoe socks. I'm sorry, maybe I've been out of the game too long. I haven't seen those. And then he also mentioned, Kevin had he says, have Debbie try the Topo Athletic TerraVenture 3 or the MT4 coming in January. 3 mil drop, excellent feel through the heel, midfoot, but nice roomy toe box. And I spoke to Debbie over the holidays. I actually was with Debbie and with a group of people on New Year's Eve, early New Year's Eve. I didn't stay up too, partying too late, just hanging out. And she was still mentioning she's looking for some shoes. She hasn't been able to pull the trigger on a new pair of shoes to look at, so I will definitely pass those on. Heidi Waddups, nothing better, she says, an after run, slipping on some Hoka slides. That is one thing I would love to hear more about. What is your post-run up footwear? Because there's nothing for me. I love taking my shoes off and slipping into something else, whether that's I don't have Hoka slides. People were wearing Crocs. I got an orange pair of Crocs, folks. That is no joke. Flip-flops. I know everybody talks about Tevas and Chacos and everything else, but what's a nice, light, cushy, breathable, feel-good shoe or flip-flop, slipper, slide you can put on? I see a lot of Hoka slides, and that's what she mentioned, so thanks, Heidi. Braden Lim, he said he 100% agrees with the Houdini jacket. He's been using the same one since 2014, and this was why we spoke about it. Okay, we're in 2022, and if my math serves me correctly, and I'm no whiz, that's 8 years. So 8 years and $100 jacket. So that's pretty good. That's a little like $12 a year, right? That's not bad for a jacket. So when you're talking about buying something, and even if it's got like a premium price tag, also look at the durability and longevity and how often and how much you're going to wear it, how it's going to last, what it serves a purpose for. So I think that's a great thing. And he's also a La Sportiva fan. He likes the Mutants, or his go-to running shoe. He feels like they don't get enough love. He's hard on shoes, but they're really durable. He has 2 pair, both over 500 miles. And you can't argue with this. They got Jared Campbell and John Kelly to Barkley finishes. So you're right, Braden. That absolutely says something. And again, maybe that's something I should revisit. Again, the La Sportiva line for me has just always been just a little more. And maybe sometimes it's the uppers. But you know what? I'm going to check it out. Garmin InReach, that is such a great idea, and I might be pulling the trigger on one of those this year for backcountry safety. We're going to have some shows coming out in 2022 that kind of talk about some issues like that, backcountry safety. Over the past few years, it's been so horrible to hear losses we've had in not just in general, but in the trail running community, the outdoor adventure, and it's something we want to address and talk about and bring to light, but also get some perspectives on that, so we can make sure everybody's doing what they can to stay safe while they're out there and doing what they love. I know one time, and I think I've spoken this on the show, there's been so many times back in the day when me and Joel would be running, and I thought to myself, boy, we're pretty far from anything without cell coverage. If one of us was to fall, and like if Joel fell, went down and bonked his head, what would I do? And I've had first aid training, I've had all that type of stuff. But it is something we really need to pay attention to. And here locally, I've tried to organize doing some backcountry first aid classes when you're out and about and you don't have, your whole arsenal of stuff in your car. I know a lot of people take a small first aid kit with them or some essentials, and that's something great to give to anybody at any time when you know they're out there, whether it's a space blanket, things like that. But Braden, thank you so much for including the Garmin inReach in there. And I know there's other things. You got the spot trackers and all those. But we will be talking about that later on, hopefully in the spring, earlier than later. But yeah, people, just be safe out there, especially this time of year. Avalanches are starting to come in a lot of places where there's snow. You get injured in the backcountry in this type of weather, it could be bad. So please be safe. We can't stress that enough. And, make sure you take precautions and just always let people know where you're going. How's that? All right. Next up, Amy Musgrove. She needs to find some, here we go. This is something we didn't talk about because it's, again, like shoes. Okay, everybody has a fit. She says, I've got to find some shorts for girls with thick thighs, ones that don't creep up in the crotch. Maybe I should try the Path shirts and liners. Any recommendations would be awesome. Again, Trail Manners people. What can Amy try? And another great idea too, or not idea, but we have the Trail Manners community page. So if you go to the Trail Manners Facebook page, if you're on social media, I know a lot of people are getting away from it. It's a thing I wrestle with a lot. But through Facebook, we've got a community page. It's separate from our Trail Manners page, and where it's just a nice little community where we can, bounce ideas off each other. We can ask for recommendations. We can look for things. Or you're not going to be having snarky comments and, I'll say be judged and all that because, that's not something we're about here. But I call it a safe place that you can just kind of get out, ask questions, whether it's about race, nutrition, anything else, and people chime in. And a lot of times what I'll do if I see something, we're going to be a lot more active on that in 2022, is we'll reach out. I could reach out, or somebody could reach out to somebody they know that could be a quote-unquote expert in the field and get some answers. So that'd be a good place as well to address some of that. And that's just the Trail Manners community page. Super simple. Reach out to that. But help Amy. Because I know that's, boys and girls alike. I'm a thick dude, right? And so I can't wear, certain cuts of certain shorts. And so I need to make sure, like Path Projects, when I use their Relax Fit, they fit me great. But I can't wear other types of shorts like that really, it's like a slimmer fit maybe in shorts. I've got a caboose and I've got some thick thighs and they're not going anywhere soon. So that's a great thing, just those fit things. And it's a good place to ask those questions. And also a friend of the show, Henry Howard, he jumped in. And another brand I wasn't familiar with, but it looks like they've been around for quite some time, is the Odlo, O-D-L-O. He wears their zero-weight Pro Warm running jacket. He said it's similar to the shirts that we mentioned on part 2 of the podcast. So I think it was like maybe the Norvan line. It's an integrated watch window, which I do appreciate. I do like having, a watch window, if you will. So you don't have to have their wrists out, or you can, do your tucking and stuff with your gloves. It's lightweight and reflective. So if you need that as well, that's a great thing to have. And again, it goes back to safety. He is an Odlo ambassador, but that's because he loves their gear and supports their sustainability practices. We're going to try that one more time. He supports their sustainability practices. So here's the other thing. We know there's a lot of ambassadors out there and people that work or rep or anything for companies. And we would never foo-foo that, especially if it's sincere, right? Like I've mentioned on the show, I work with Path and now with Squirrel Nut Butter. But if you've ever listened to the podcast, I've been around with those companies forever. If there's authenticity, I've got no problem talking about it on the podcast. But you can usually tell a plug, right? when it's not sincere. And those we stay away from. And again, we've had people over the years get a hold of the show about testing product or doing this and that. And if it's not something I would use or I would believe in, or if it's not for the right reasons, we'll stay away from it. We don't want to lead anybody astray for $1 or for a free product or anything like that. So I appreciate your honesty, Henry, and your integrity through with the sport. I have no doubt that this is something you believe in. You could check out his website. He does some great stuff on interviews and things like that. And he's also, and it was great, he also liked the shout out for Gnarly Nutrition. He uses several Gnarly products, and it is a small Utah company, and they help with clean nutrition. It's for athletes, by athletes. I couldn't agree more. And we're actually going to have a show, and we didn't get too far down the Gnarly route because we're going to have a show where we specifically talk more about nutrition, and that one's going to come up quite a bit. I have been using their whey product. I have been using their Fuel 2.0. And also, I'm liking their creatine as well. So I do use their products. No sponsorship, no discounts. I'm paying full price, people. But here's something, and I didn't bring a whole lot up on nutrition for new stuff. I got COVID right after my 50th birthday this past July, July of 2021, and I got it bad. I got floored. As my girlfriend says, he didn't get out of bed for like 11 days, and that's the truth. Lost a lot of weight. Don't worry. I gained it all back and some, but I got it wicked bad. We are in January, so we're quite a few months down the road, and my smell and my taste are still not on point. So I struggle to do too much with anything that has a taste to it because I've tried Gnarly before. I tried their cherry cola and the limeade, and I liked them, and I've tried them since, and they have a weird taste to me. So I tried to stay a little bit away from that far as like the taste goes, but far as how stuff works, we can definitely keep talking about that. Last one, Henry did mention he also is a Koros convert. He says if you're interested in the vert aspect, the Vertix is definitely the perfect choice. So, wow, that was quite a bit of feedback we received. So thank you, everybody that took time to give us some ideas. Please keep them coming throughout the year. We like to spread the word because, like I said, there's products I don't know about and other people that could benefit them down the road. And now we're going to give away our prizes. How's that? So we did mention we had 2 $75 gift cards for Path Projects, $75. I've got a code. I hope you're listening because that's the only way you're going to claim this. So here's our 2 winners of the $75 Path Projects. These were drawn, and we have other winners as well. So all the winners that I announce, you need to message me at manners@trailmanners.com. That's the best, easiest way to make sure I see it. If you try me through social media, it's going to be a crapshoot. I'm not on there all the time. I struggle still with some of the messaging stuff because you get so much junk. So if you want to claim your stuff, please just email me, manners@trailmanners.com. You can try the other route, and you might be successful. So I'm just saying option A would be the email. Option L would be social media. So the 2 winners, $75 Path Projects, 2 of them, 2 winners. We got Ward from Georgia. You got one. And Kevin Matthewson, you also received one. So get a hold of me. I hope you're listening. If you know him, let him know. Ward's from Georgia. I don't know anybody in Georgia. So help him out. And also Kevin. And these winners, if you as well message me, we've got other prizes that we'll send out to you. We've got Tim Bugnett, KC Morris, Missy Jackson, Megan Smith, and Braden Lim. So reach out, claim your prizes. We'll get those right out to you. Thanks again, everybody, for participating in the gear guide. And please, like I said, this isn't just for Christmas. Let's keep them coming because there's other things to give people, you give things to people for. Just being nice sometimes is kind of fun. So we're always talking about recommendations. So, all right. So 2022, what's happening? There's a lot hopefully going on. I know we're kind of in this new little surge thing. It's still kind of iffy. All the things are going weird, but I'm really interested in what your plans are for 2022. Like I said, the Trail Manners community page is a great resource. It's a great place to go. But what are your goals? What are your plans? I know a lot of people foo-foo resolutions. Like, I don't believe in resolutions. They always blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But I'm hoping people do have some different goals, right? Some different things they want to either do or accomplish in 2022. But I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear and maybe post on this episode 311 on the Facebook if you have it, or even Instagram because it'll be there as well. Where are some of the races you're doing? I've got some races I'll announce soon, and some of you already know. But I'd like to know if I'm going to cross paths with anybody, because I not only run races, right? I volunteer. I've been emceeing more, so I MC races. If you need that, let me know. But yeah, I'll be at a lot of different events, not just here in Utah. But I'd love to catch up. I love catching up with Trail Manners listeners. It's always a joy for me to meet new people and see who listens to the show. So what are you doing? What are your goals and plans? I mean, I have some goals, right? And I'm not going to call them resolutions. I like the goals thing. I'm not against resolutions, but it's a goal. Goals for the year. And I put them down. As many of you know, I'm a spreadsheet guy. One is I'm fickle, right, with my weight. And it's just a feel-good thing, right? There's a certain level of weight that I run that I feel just so much better. And I'm not looking for this massive weight loss program. I'm past that. I'm an old dude. I'm 50. But that's one of my things. I have different goals throughout the year, and I'm not going to make these goals so unattainable that I fail, but I'm also not going to make them so easy that I hit them and go, oh, yeah, well, that was easy. So I do. I mean, my weight's one of them. My consistency with running is going to improve this year, I feel. I've got a pretty good base right now, which is something I've always struggled with through the winters, keeping a good base, and then I end up getting injuries. And that's the other one. One of my goals is to kind of remain relatively injury-free. I know that's a struggle for a lot of people. So for me to incorporate that, I've started some strength training, which is always great. I've also, not going to lie, I've started stretching. I don't stretch. I am not a limber guy. I'm built more like a Tonka truck. I'm not some smooth thing. So I've been trying to stretch a little bit more. I've known forever that yoga and stuff has always been helpful, but I struggle with that. I'll maybe do some in my own place. Maybe that'll help me. But a lot of it is just, and if you look at the things I'm talking about, whether it's the weight, consistency, what's the other one I was talking about? Strength training, all those things, those help with just life, right? And I've learned that the older I get, the harder it is. And I know that sounds cliche, but man, 20 years ago, I didn't know what stretching was. I never really got sore. Injuries were not something I dealt with. And now it's just like there's always something, right? I know stress adds a lot to that, but just general well-being and care. And then I have some goals for races as well. And this is just more on the sports side, not the personal side. But, there's some races I'm in this year that I have goals for times. Some of them I've run before, so I kind of have an idea of what I've done in the past. And, El Vaquero's a perfect example. My favorite race, El Vaquero, I've never had a good day there. And I've never really come into that race firing on all cylinders either. So, those are some things. So let me know what yours are. And there's been some interesting news we'll just throw out there within the past couple weeks, actually. The Gorge Waterfall races, they have been taken over by Daybreak Racing and Free Trail, which is going to be interesting to see. Free Trails with Dylan Bowman, who, he's got a great podcast out there, and he's just a great guy. He's involved with that, but those are no longer with James Varner and Rain Shadow Running, which if James is going to give up a race or move it along, he's going to put it in the right hands. So I think that one's in great hands, but it is a different change. James is such a great guy. We've had him on the show. A race I've wanted to run for way too long. And then also Speed Goat is now part of UTMB, which I think is some big news. Carl's old school, man. He's old school. So if he's doing this, he's done his homework and knows exactly what they're getting into. And there's 2022, they've got 2 days of racing, so they do have a couple changes. Friday is going to be a 28K and a new race for 2022, a 13K. And then Saturday is the 50K, and it's a qualifier for the OCC in Chamonix. That registration opens up on January 10th, so coming up. And then next up, Bandera 100K, the first golden ticket race of the year is coming up this weekend, so that'll be interesting. I checked out the start list for that, and there's some big names on there, and there's also some newcomers. I think in the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of what we would consider newcomers to the sport that are killing it. And so I'm excited to see who comes out of the Bandera 100K this weekend with the golden ticket, because I'm hoping, I'm optimistic, and I'm going to stay that way, that 2022 we kind of get back to a little bit more of this thing we've been used to post-COVID. So I'm hoping the racing scene continues, obviously safely, and that's another story. And for the folks out there, I am looking for a new van. I sold my 78 Volkswagen bus in 2021, and I'm looking for a new van, something a little bigger, something that we can really get after. So stay tuned on that. There could be some interesting things happening. And now we'll cover some Woody Footy. We did do two things. We have our Woody Footy of the week, which we do every week. And so as a reminder on that, I post that every Sunday on Facebook, and you post your "Where did your feet take you" pictures. And what we do is we pick the winner. Starting now, because it's January, we're going to pick a winner every week. Okay, and we tried this last year. Every week we're going to pick a winner. And then at the end of the month, we're going to take those winners and we're going to pick the best of the month. And at the end of the year, we're going to take the best of the months and have best of the year. We didn't do that in 2021, so I just said, hey, what's your favorite picture you took of the year. And there was some amazing photos, like unreal photos. Andrew Giles, the picture he's got, Jasper National Park. Are you kidding me? I want to be there not right now because it'd be cold, but that's the location. That was gorgeous. Jeff Fulmer, Grand Tetons, Danielle Bertoldi, Bright Angel Trail, Grand Canyon, right? Preston Wood had a great shot. Sarah Moore from Kauai, I definitely like that one. Megan Smith, Smithfield Canyon, Tony's Grove, Aspens, Poppin'. Jeff Hart, you're climbing a mountain, but I see a trail in the background. Cascade Mountains in Washington. Sure do love that Jeff Hart guy and miss him. Sarah Pedrosa's was gorgeous of the Grand Canyon. Unbelievable. One I really like to see was Nate Reese. He had a picture of his daughter trail running Upper Palisades Lake in Idaho. His daughter is wearing a vest that he won at the Trail Manners Film Festival a few years ago. So that was really cool to see that. Heidi Waddups had a great photo. Willard Peak from Ben Lomond with a bunch of goats, mountain goats, and that's always a prize getting to see those. Christopher Pack, Ice Age Trail in Wisconsin. Laquita Probasco, she looks like she's on top of a peak, I don't know where. Chuck Tabarachi, High Uenda Wilderness, his birthday run, turning 67. That would have been amazing. Kelsey Hill on Timpanogos, that's gorgeous with a sunset. Jason Child, Lewis Peak, and the winner for my favorite photo was by Mark Davis, Mount Rainier Circumnavigation. That is gorgeous. There's a cabin, there's flower. I mean, he's got all these great elements in it. That was my favorite one that was posted for Woody Footy of the Year. And now, here's the big one, though, because this is going to go into the contest for 2022. Woody Footy of the Week. Preston Wood, San Gabriel Mountains, Mount Low. Great. Andrew Giles had a great one in Edmonton as the sun was coming up. Beautiful colors and architecture. That's a gorgeous shot. Megan Smith, Logan Highline Trail. Jen Haas Walker in Little Kelly Canyon. Jeremy Haddock, traditional New Year's Olympus run with his pup. That's awesome. Love seeing the dogs on the trail. Missy Jackson, San Bernardino Mountains, and Jim Skaggs out on Antelope Island. Mark Davis, you had a good one. It was Hoth, which makes sense, and totally had me cracking up. How about this one? Ricky Erica Nerud, Morocco. We've got an international one to start off 2022. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the location, but here's how you spell it. OuaouizeghT. Not even going to try, but it's in Morocco. I can pronounce that one. Chris Carney had a great one in a whiteout. But this week's winner for the Woody Footy that we're going to put in the bucket to keep going forward, the Wyoming backcountry Lee Brown. That is such a killer shot. So beautiful. If you have an opportunity, go check that out. So congratulations, Lee. You are the Woody Footy of the Week, which will hopefully have some more stuff coming out pretty soon for Woody Footy of the Week. So that's it for the Woody and the Footies for the week and the year. And just a couple reminders before we say goodbye today and this week is don't forget we do have an Ask Trail Manners segment on Facebook, or you can email us at manners@trailmanners.com. If you have questions for me, we go ahead and answer those on the podcast as well. We do appreciate support via Patreon. That helps us keep us going. And also we have Trail Manners flags, little tiny flags. I say tiny, they're like little. I'll get the sizing for you. But you can email me if you're going somewhere cool. I'm going to email it to you because that's really hard to do, but I will mail you one of these little flags. There's a Trail Manners and a Woody Footy. Take it to your cool spot. Take a photo of it. Sign it where you're at. I'll get it back from you. I want it to go around all over the place this year to see some cool spots where the Trail Manners flag and the Woody Footy flag will fly. So don't forget, just reach out to me. I'll send it to you. I trust you that you'll send it back. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So anyway, folks, I really do appreciate everybody coming back to the Trail Manners podcast. As you know, we have our single track session style, which we did today. We also have our interviews. We do have Tara Warren coming up next week. Don't miss that show, and some great guests down the road. We've got Preston Wood coming back to talk about his herd experience. We've got some nutrition people coming back. We've got some race directors coming on. We've got a great story that I'm not going to spill the beans coming. We just got to set up the date for that. So a lot of shows ahead. If you got recommendations for people on the show, shoot them my way. We've got some first-time 100-milers trailers that are going to be running this year that we'll talk to that have never done one before. So a lot of fun interviews, a lot of cool people, and we couldn't do it without listeners. So thank you so much for listening to the Trail Manners podcast. I say let's go 2022. Let's see what it's got. Let's take it in, enjoy it, and hey, don't forget to send us a message. trailmanners.com or manners@trailmanners.com. I'd love to hear from you. Let's do this together. Have a happy and safe year, and we'll talk to you next week.